And I'm going to go straight into why I think we are having this session here. Because from the time colonialism came into countries all over the world during the empire, the colonized were told not to speak their indigenous language. You were punished for speaking your indigenous language. You're punished in school, you're punished in the workplaces for not speaking English. So it was strictly English or French or Portuguese. So looking at how things have developed up to now, we see that most people live in neo-colonialism because my ancestors, they had a culture for millenniums, and colonialism, 500 years, 600, maybe 1,000 years if you look at the Portuguese, but they've made such an impact in that I feel it's important to talk about African indigenous language. So I'm not going to be academic, although I'm a lecturer. My background is tropical agriculture, teaching farmers how to grow things. So I've got an education background which I'm using now as a creative. I'm a curator in the Royal Pavilion, and I work with an organization in Chicago. It's called the Obsidian Collection. I do feel deeply about using artifacts in the museum to stimulate creative writing. So that's the module I've been trying to get. And that's where I'm trying to capture the young people to come and learn their culture and their knowledge. So I will move on to the next slide, which is quite controversial because somebody was talking about gender. Yeah. I don't want you to read all of that, but those are some of the genders in Africa. Maybe you say Afrobeat is there, Amapiano is there, but there's quite a lot of things there, balance, maybe. There are quite a lot of, and these are selling in their millions in Africa, but I bet none of you know most of them. So there is a culture within a culture that is now slowly evolving, slowly becoming contemporary, slowly filling 80,000 people in Madison Square Garden. Do you know who does that? So be loud. Yeah, enjoy this. This is just a snippet. I won't play it all. That's Banner. He opened up the final for Manchester City and Inter Milan. If you love football. We are seeing quite a lot of contemporary African musicians hitting above their weight. I think I had a So, the rise and rise of the popular African genres. So we've got, of course, Afrobeat, and there's another artist I want you to also see. They're also selling. This is Amapiano from South Africa. Afro house. songs you pass the two ones, they're all in different vernaculars. There's no English there. And it's selling in millions. Where are we missing the trick? You know? They're using the so-called mother tongue. That's what people use. It's inclusion in the contemporary club mixes, hit parades, being offered to megastars like you've seen Conservatorium from Nigeria. And they're also accepting the fashion and African print-inspired attire that accompanies the different journals mentioned above. But how did we get there? Who were the early pioneers? He's from Tanzania. He's called Diamond Platinums. That's Swahili. Swahili is spoken in 9 different countries in Africa. They call that bongo flavor. Have you heard of bongo flavor? Anybody's heard of bongo flavor? None. Oh, you've had.
My dad's from Tanzania, so.
So bongo flavor sells over, I don't know. It's on Streamline. If you Google it, you'll see. It's so popular because Swahili is spoken in Oman, it's spoken in America. It's spoken in 9 countries in Africa. And United, the African Union wants to make it official, Laban. Did you know that? Okay. So we go further on. These are the fashions now popular in African countries. Wearing African print, contemporary arts, and my background, I've been upon this cycle of contemporary urban music since childhood. I grew up in a musical family that had my eldest brother attending school and joining a nightclub band in the city of Mombasa during the 60s. So he used to sit out on the table and bang out Rolling Stones, bang out Beatles songs, and I'm thinking, what's he singing? You know? And he left school and went to. But we had the privilege of my father, who studied in America during the civil rights 60s. He came back with LPs from African American spirituals. They used to call them Negro spirituals. And especially striking was this song by, these are my musical influences. Find it? That's gospel music.
That's all right.
You know who that is?
That's all right.
Anybody know?
That's all right. I know it's all right. Long as I know, oh, God, I see in your kingdom, Lord. That's all right. Well,
So different from my computer. You've heard this song. So I feel Patapata. It's a very sexual song, and it has meaning around. I want to take over. I want to be on top. I want to take over the government. So it was played in South Africa, but they didn't know the words because they're spoken in Zulu. But it means that we want our country back. But it's quite sexualized so that they couldn't ban it on the radio. So it did go on the hit parade. I think it was #1 in some of the in America. So why aren't you using this kind of knowledge to attract this inner city, people who are interested in their culture? They don't even know their culture. Some people say, I'm an African, but we all come from, the cradle of man is in East Africa, So we are all from one, So I'm going to go quickly to the next slide, which is, these are artists who will be quite familiar with some people because Sauti Sol won the MTV Award for the Best African Band, and U.M.I.N is from Nigeria. She's quite a controversial figure, but she's a woman who, just listen to this. She's talking about her experience. U.M.I.N, remember that name?
What? It's an African one.
We should try to see where we can collaborate with other similar urban artists. So we are living in silence because I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were saying people started in 1980 with the Grandmaster Flash and Naval and grew up. And I was challenging him, I said, no, we are people way back. There's people who actually used to rap and sing with the blues. But then before that, we go back again, before slavery, there was people. There is still people there. People like U.M.I.N, they are using that kind of rhythm to sensitize people. Whiskey He's one of the top selling, artists from Nigeria. And when you want to attract these young people, those are the kind of music they're listening to. And if you don't know what they're listening to, how are you going to capture their attention? How are you going to make sure that they come to your lectures? Because if you're a music teacher and you have no clue of what that boy is listening on his Bluetooth, earphones, I don't know, it's quite interesting. So I'm rushing because I know I've got only 14 minutes. But there's this genre that I wanted everybody to be aware of. It's called Amapiano. It's from South Africa. And this is what's hitting they're calling it Afro House. Does anybody know Amapiano? Yeah? Louder. So it builds up. It's a slow, it's like a lullaby. The song I started when I came in, it's a lullaby. And I tried to show the connection between the one I was singing and this one. That's now contemporary. It's hitting the airwaves in Africa, Europe, and America. And that's what we're reacting to outside. You hear the difference? Just like the song I came in, but it's much more electronized, much more. They call it kangaroo. So it's the way you dance. I can't dance, but so they call it kangaroo. So it's a type of dance. So I'll go to the last slide, which is my details. If you come and do some, because there's so much to do. I mean, I just did this for the love of fun. But this is traditional. This is where. Coastal people, they speak Indigena, and this is the roots of some of the things we're talking about, hip hop and all that. That's 15 minutes long, so I can't take more. So, I'm waiting for questions.
Thanks so much, Tony. Amazing.
Yeah.
And apparently the sound quality came through very well for people on Zoom, which you checked out, so that's good news. Because I was a bit worried about this.
Yeah.
I think it might have phantom power, whatever that means. Anyway, I think there was a question here. I think there's one on Zoom as well.
So one of my research interests is the transnational adaptation of Amapiano into the UK. And what I think I would like to, the question I'd ask is, because I think often what happens in UK electronic music is when a genre comes over, it takes upon like UK qualities, like with American house music and the mutation they head into UK garage. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on, and if you've heard much of the producers who, it's not happened that much, but a couple of producers have started producing the UK Amapiano sound. I'm just wondering if you had any thoughts and feelings and any direction that you predict that might go in.
I can predict, yeah. So what's happening? Artists in Jamaica are now singing Amapiano. They're doing collaboration. We call them dancehall rappers with African rappers doing Amapiano. Now, is that bad? Because it's much more patois. They're speaking the slang, which is, some people say pidgin English, some people say broken English. It's trying to garner more, yeah, it's commercial. You want to make more money by not using your mother tongue, as I say, but using English. So I can understand when collaborations become diluting the essence of the music. In a way, it is commercial, and they want to get more people involved with the music. So it's up to you guys. Do you think we should stick on the pure African, Zulu, Swahili style, or should we fuse it with dancehall, grime, and any other genres? Because I told you there's like so many genres in Africa. So Amapiano is just one of them. So I don't know if it answers your question. Yeah.
Brilliant.
There's another question.
Yes, and what we're going to do is invite Raphael Travis now to unmute your microphone if you'd like to. Raphael.
Yeah, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, and we'll be able to see you if you'd like to turn your camera on, but don't be obliged.
I'm in my kitchen, so there we go. First off, thanks for a brilliant presentation and taking us on that musical journey. You talked earlier about kind of resistance music. Sometimes people call it protest music. How do you balance your efforts to connect with young people on the current music that they're listening to for the general musical aesthetic value of it, but also connect with them on music with messages that may be messages of resistance and protest and thinking about social change and those types of things? Or what's kind of the balance that you go for?
I've been working with schools, I can say within Lewis district, which is in East Sussex. So most young people can't express themselves in a way we do. They can't articulate themselves, but I've been using art to to tease us. So I found that most young people are concerned about climate change. So it's something that I've tapped onto in a way that I'm trying to use the messages within the various policies that are really affecting the world at the moment. So they're concerned. I just pick it up in a way that I use art, fine art. But then we can also use music the same way. We can actually use the same fears that they have, that you guys are going to die and you're going to leave us with a stupid planet, What can we do now? So these are the things that we're trying to encourage. And yeah, we are looking at the most important things for the youth and bringing out, particular music or particular art. I'm doing art, you guys are doing music. So that's collaboration for us.
Thanks, Tony. If we're very quick, there could be time for one more short question. Anything on Zoom, Ben? In that case, I suggest we bring this morning's session to a close. Firstly, by thanking Tony again for a DJ task. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Asante sana.
Lunch will be available, I believe, just in the ante room, would we call it?